friends and fellow moms, and welcome to this week's episode of the Moms on the Air podcast. I'm your host, Katie Mahon, and you'll see I'm not joined by my usual co-host, my daughter, Maddie. She's taking a nap right now, which is probably a good thing for all moms who knows if your child doesn't take a nap, you know, things aren't good. Anyways, I am joined this week by the lovely Jessica Kline, the publisher and editor of Macaroni Kid in Clifton, Montclair, to discuss her motherhood story as well as share the challenges and rewards of balancing motherhood with an online presence and sharing about her life as a Mom-Fluencer. So Jess, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's just dive right into it. And can you tell us about a little bit about your journey to become a Mom-Fluencer? You know, what inspired you to embrace this role and how did you grow your following?
Sure. Well, I've always been someone who does a lot of research in my own life, finding things to do with my children and just connecting with people within the community. And when I saw that Macaroni Kid, there was an opening in my territory, I hopped right on board in December 2019. And several months later, COVID happened, but I decided to really figure out a way to keep this going and what I could do within the community to grow the business. And so here I am. I'm still here. We have over 4,500 opt-in publishers. Opt-in subscribers. And we're also on social media, and I like to do events, and it's been really fun and fulfilling to have this role that is extremely flexible in between raising my 3 kids.
That's great. And how old are your kids?
I have 2 girls who are 9 and 7, and I have a son who's 3.5.
So you are right in the mix of everything.
It is a lot of personalities in my house too, which is really fun.
And I think, you know, as one of your brands, I think will perfectly describe life. It's chaos and joy.
Yes. So I am doing Macaroni Kid, Clifton, Montclair, which actually spans around 10 to 12 towns in Essex County. And that's really fun. But another passion project that I've always had is something that could support moms in both the chaos and the joy. And I decided to come up with the name Chaos in like apostrophe and joy because my kids' initials are C and J.
Oh,
So
that's perfect.
yeah, so it's a new initiative that I've created, and I'm really excited to start sharing that and really supporting moms and reminding them that it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can live in both the chaos and the joy.
And I think that describes motherhood in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So, you know, just for you, how do you balance your responsibility as a parent with the demands of being, you know, an influencer? And are there any specific strategies or routines you've developed to maintain this balance?
Well, let's see. The word balance I've kind of thrown out because I think that you're either doing one thing or another, and you need to figure out how to be present in both areas of your life. So one way that I do that is I actually include my kids in a lot of different things. So, for example, I was a vendor at a street fair this past weekend, and it was huge. And my kids were helping with the crafts, and my kids were selling bracelets. So I was trying to teach them about like entrepreneurship, and they love telling their friends about what I do to try to, which also is great for me, right? Because then maybe those kids will tell their parents. But as far as like content creation, I'm really like someone who can do, I feel like what most people can do like all day, I managed to fit into just like an hour or two. Super diligent, super focused. And I think that that's just really important. And I think that you really have to have like love and heart and passion in what you do. Otherwise, there's no way to make it all work.
No, sure. I can completely relate to that. And, you know, in your experience working with Macaroni Kid and as an influencer, how have you, you know, dealt with challenges that you faced? What type of challenges have come your way and how have you overcome them?
The biggest one was in the very beginning when COVID came. I had a kindergartner, a preschooler, and a 6-month-old at the time. And so what I did immediately off the bat was
I hope you had wine.
I actually don't drink, which is
Ah,
I know, which is surprising. I just choose not to. But I wish I did because I think life would be easier, at least in the moment, and then I'd be hungover. But so with that challenge, I was like, what? How can I think outside the box? Because I really like to try to do that. So I created something called like All Stooped Up. And I reached out to a lot of the local businesses and I said, can I have like a bag from your business or an item from your business? And I actually put them all on my front stoop. And it was sort of like putting community together. And
sure.
I teamed up with an amazing photographer, Audrey Blake, and together we snapped photos and then tagged all of the businesses. And so it was a way to try to get Macaroni Kid to kind of spread. What was really fun about it is we even had a character come and we had balloons and we had someone bring cupcakes. And I did include my kids in that as well. So it was a way to make it fun and have something to do. So that was probably the biggest challenge that I've overcome.
And throughout that time, did that help you with like learning any specific lessons or anything that you could take from that you could share with others?
Yeah, I think that the main lessons that I've learned, not just from that specifically, but just in general with the growth that I've had is like the imposter syndrome, right? Like, who am I?
Mhm.
I never call myself an influencer because I just think I'm just a word of mouth, a mom using my word of mouth. But what was I going to say? Oh my God, mom brain. But imposter syndrome. So I really have just learned to quiet that voice and build confidence and build posture and, really see the value in what I'm doing because clients will say to me, I've tried Google ads and I've tried this and I've tried that. And like nothing works the same way you do. Kidville has been with me since the very beginning, Kidville in Montclair. And the owner will tell you that the best money he's ever spent was working with Macaroni Kid because people, since it's a national business, people who've moved from New York City who knew Macaroni Kid went on Macaroni Kid locally and saw that Kidville was on there and learned that there was a Kidville. So just using that as an example, it's
And what is Kidville? I don't know what Kidville
you
is.
don't.
No, I don't.
So Kidville is like an amazing resource that they have like a gym with classes in there. They have classes for like art and science. And it's pretty much ages, I would say like 2 to 5. And
Okay, great.
they have camps. So when I had my two girls who were 21 months apart, it was just the best place for me to go myself because I could have two kids in a gym and I could sit down for 5 minutes. And the owners are just fantastic and they throw amazing birthday parties.
That's good to know. I will definitely look up Kidville because of, the glowing review you just gave them.
Yes.
Kind of shifting gears, a big part of being a mom-fluencer is, sharing content. And, for you, how do what's your strategy with creating content and how do you make that content both authentic and relatable to your audience?
I I have the perspective of I want to share what I would want to see, right? So I use Canva. A lot of other people do as well. I use the paid version, but that's where I make my graphics. A lot of my clients will make something and give it to me, but then I also make plenty for them, and I try to be, consistent as much as I can with the marketing. But then I use Macaroni Kids platform to make my content. And I have an Excel spreadsheet to kind of keep track of all of the contracts that I do have.
Mhm.
One thing I will share too is anyone who's thinking about starting something like this, like share things for free, right? So like my biggest goal, yes, is to make some money, but also I really want to provide people with a value. And so from the very beginning, I would just find things and I would share them in my stories or I would just share them on, my Instagram page. In the very beginning, I started sharing a couple of amazing resources that I personally used and made articles about them, so that I knew I was providing value and people could see what an example is that I make for them.
No, that's great. And for anybody who's listening to this episode, we both connected on Instagram, and you have a great Instagram page.
Thank you.
And also for you, just kind of adding on to that, do you, partake in any strategies that help you connect with fellow parents and creating a supportive community when it comes to content creation?
Yes. So, for example, I am working with a parenting therapist right now. And so, when I'm working with a client, my biggest question for them is, what is your business goal? And then we work backwards with how we can utilize our platform. So, she has a niche that's like very specific. She really likes to work with parents who have children who've been diagnosed with food allergies, for example. So, we discussed like different workshops that she could create for that. So that's like with, someone who pays for advertising. But as far as like free events, I have an event coming up on May 20th at Kidville, actually, where we're working with an organization called Room to Grow, where we're going to fill a truck with items for moms who are in need in their third and fourth trimester. So I'm always trying to give back, and anything that's like overflow that isn't the third and fourth trimester, we're going to give locally to Tony's Kitchen, which is an amazing organization. As far as emotional, when it was last year, when it was March 13th and it was the pandemic anniversary, I decided to do a mom scream. I'm not sure if you saw any of those in the news. Someone in near Boston started that, where it was like a primal scream where the moms got together on a football field and just let it go. And I just jumped right on board and I created something. I actually did it twice last year. And CBS National News actually saw it. I think they found it on Eventbrite. And they came and interviewed me, and I was on the news, which was really cool.
That's all.
Yeah, but like we had moms that were sharing like really heavy stuff, and like just being able to say something to someone in a non-judgmental location around like-minded people was really big. And then this year, I created something with another local organization called Wine and Design that opened up here. And we did a mom splatter. So they have a room where you can splatter paint on anything you want. So instead of screaming, moms, we were splattering and we were giggling, and it was just a blast. And
That
so I
sounds like a great event.
yeah. I just try to think of things that I need, and hopefully moms make the time for themselves. I think that's the biggest thing, is moms think they need to be home, and that they need to be in control at home. And I totally get it, but I try to create something where they can really like connect with other people.
No, I think that's great. And, one of the things I know, especially new moms often experience is a sense of, loneliness in a way, or finding other people that they can relate to, or who's going through, the trenches of, whether it's dealing with postpartum, or, the early months, early weeks and months where you're dealing with those nighttime feedings, and having someone you could just talk to it's everything. So I appreciate that. And I think you're doing such a great service to all moms, not only just in Essex County, but all over.
Thank you. And this chaos and joy thing that I'm starting now is really about like that aha moment, like, oh, right. That is how, like, it's not just me. Oh, wow. Okay. And then, you know, I always say that like instinctively we want to respond and react to our husbands, ourselves, and our children a certain way. But there's so many influential people out there who have different ways that we can actually speak to ourselves, our spouses, and our children. And
Mhm.
I think that it could be so valuable to have it like all in one place. So I'd like to share the different resources that I come across, that every single day I have like reminders of how I can do better and how I can be better. And it's such a work in progress because we're always quote unquote messing up, right? Or saying the wrong thing. But trying to do better, I think, is just what we all are trying to achieve.
No, I get it. I completely relate to that.
How
And,
old is your daughter?
10 months, going on 11 months,
Oh, oh,
very mobile.
enjoy that nap.
Yeah, no, we have to start baby proofing everything. So fun times, very fun times. But just shifting topics right now, you touched on this a little bit before. And what advice would you give to aspiring, momfluencers or parents looking to share their experiences and build an online presence?
I have toyed with the idea for a while of creating some sort of a course online for moms that are interested in doing something like this. I would say look into Macaroni Kid. It's absolutely amazing. The support is great. And there might already be a publisher in your territory. But if you want to create your own thing, just document where you go and things that happen throughout your own day and start with social media if that's what you're comfortable with. I always say, use the platform that you love, and it's just second nature. If you're at a place with your kids and they're really little, just share what you like about it, share some pictures, share a video. Don't make it too long, or just make it like straight to the point as much as you can. And consistency, I think, is key as well. So try to think of one thing every other day or every day.
No, that's great advice. I know a lot of moms, especially, want to start that presence and just they don't know how. So definitely looking up Macaroni Kid is a great resource.
I
So
also I just want to add one thing, sorry.
sure.
I just wanted to say, like, also to think about, like, what you're trying to get out of it. So if you're trying to get, like, it's just a fulfilling feeling giving back, then that's great. If you're trying to get, like classes that you're taking comped or bartering or things like that, like, I would just suggest, like, being consistent, growing your base, your following, and then reach out to any business that you want and just offer them like a suggestion of what you could potentially help them with and the exposure.
No, that's a great idea, and shifting topics a little bit, can you share some of your favorite or most memorable moments throughout your time with Macaroni Kid or just being, an online presence? In your opinion.
Sure. Well, if I'm at an event and I'm face to face with people, I love the feedback that I get. Like, oh, your emails are my favorite emails because we send free emails every single week. Or, I found the camp for my kid. Thank you so much. I didn't have to do the research because I just went through your list. Or thank you for that recommendation. That was great. Or, I put out a Mother's Day guide. So somebody, didn't have to do their own research and they just purchased something off the Mother's Day guide. Obviously, feedback is great. I'm someone who loves feedback, who doesn't? But I also love the business side, right? So I love when a business is like, thank you so much. Like, I can't tell you how many people came to this or, signed me up for their birthday. And then there's people who have suggestions for me, who reach out, and that's wonderful too. And I've had several people say, I want to help you with events, or I want to help with content. And, I think people really love giving back and doing something. There's something really fulfilling in it for people.
No, that's fantastic. And, just adding on to that, have any of your experience in your role now influenced your perspective on motherhood?
Yes. Flexibility for me. There is someone that I've been following for a while on Instagram who talks about motherhood in the gray. So growing up, I always thought, a career was certain type of way. And that's how I started. I started with Ralph Lauren for 10 years in the city. And then I had children. And I never believed people when they said that your whole perspective changes once those kids come out, right? I don't think any of us do. But something changes. And it was like a chemical thing for me. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't commute into the city. I can't work with people that I'm not loving to be around. I need, life has to be more than this. And I started to connect with people in the community just because I'm a people person. And that
Right.
was even before Macaroni Kid. And then this whole flexibility thing is just amazing. And I also had a big conversation of like what money meant to me. And I've always been so like money, 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 money. Like we need money. But then I think our generation, and I just was reading about it yesterday, but our generation realizes that there's more than just money that matters. And I think that that's very important to like remind other people that it's okay to believe that there's more than just money that matters.
No, that's great advice, and I couldn't agree with you more on that. And yeah, I know you're a busy woman and you have kids to pick up very soon. So I just want to thank you so much for your time today and sharing your insight with us. I appreciate you. I wish you the best, and I hope you will join us for a future episode. And I'll definitely look forward to subscribing to your Macaroni Kid email list. And yeah, I look forward to learning about more about all the great things that are out there for my daughter and all other kids to enjoy.
Thank you so much. My website, if you want to look it up, it's clifton.macaronikid.com.
Excellent. And I will definitely share that on my feed with our listeners. And for everybody who has listened today, and if you're listening on a podcast, thank you for tuning in today. And I hope you'll join us next week as we'll be discussing all things homeschooling with our homeschool expert, Stephanie Palazzolo. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you're listening and give us a 5-star rating. And until next time, I'm Katie, and on behalf of me and Maddie, we are the Moms on the Air show.